had made.
Or what song it was.
It's like something something. I'm not fucking her, so I passed her to Louis. Jared would rap. It's not like he wrote things down. It's not like we knew what he was gonna say. So he was literally like something something something. Fuck Mario, and then like stopped, and then went to go in.
Yeah, yeah.
1-2 seconds of like his pause. We were like, pause. Like, we were like, bro, like, what are you saying? And then the next like line that goes with the same bar doesn't, you know what I mean? Like we were just listening to him freestyling it and breathing in between that. Like we were like, bro, that's wrong. Like
Yeah.
you're not saying that
Like,
right.
kind of sus right now.
Like he looked at us like he was like, I'm the fucking rapper here. So,
He's like, all right, and he changed it right away. So
no, he just went with he was like, it's not done. I remember him being like, he was like, no, I'm not like it makes sense. And then he said it, and we're like, we get it, especially because like
yeah.
like Mario and Luigi with Chris and Sean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Pastor.
Like, he wasn't like the type of dude that like was too big head. Like he would take advice. If you're like, nah, you shouldn't say that, or say this, or that kind of sounds weird. Like he's the type of dude that'd be like, okay, like he'd like.
I would try. Yeah, I remember even with Max Lord, he'd be like, Max Lord would really. That's one thing I loved about their just relationship, and like when like it came down to like life and music, is that Max like really pushed him. Like, I mean, Jared pushed himself enough, but Max would be like, try it in this melody, or like
Yeah.
try to read these notes, and like he'd be like, nah, but I'm gonna try it. And then he'd try it, and either he liked it or he didn't like it or whatever it was, but it was always, he was always open to the people that were around him like giving advice, because again, he freestyled everything, so it was just his first thoughts that came to his head, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna be like, oh, well, maybe that might sound okay. But then again, I remember after we had a little, remember that there was that incident with, I forget who it was, some kid. And because they had like said something like that, like, oh, maybe try this, they try to take credit for like writing something.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I mean, I was there for that song. I remember everything. And I was like, no. Like, that's not what he actually didn't even do what you wanted him to do. So no, I don't know who I'm talking about. So sorry if I'm talking about you, but you know, I don't care. I'm just going to
Yep.
It does not matter. Oh my God. I was just listening to some unreleased songs I haven't heard in a minute.
Really? I haven't heard too many unreleased stuff in a minute. I haven't been listening too much lately because I've just been
I
had to listen to some of his stuff lately.
I am literally the grandma from Coco still. There's no difference in anything. But I was like, let me start prepping myself. So, like, you know, I still to this day have not listened to Legends Never Die. Like, I mean, I've listened to certain songs, obviously, like watching the music videos or things like that, but I haven't sat down and listened to the whole album or anything to this day. So I just wanted to make sure, and that's because I was sick and there was so much going on and I wasn't healed to this level yet. You know what I mean? And there was a lot. So like, and I always remember being like, I'm gonna go on live and like listen to it with the fans, you know. And I never did because I never listened to it. But I know that I really want this album, since I know that all I know right now, I mean, I'm going to be in the studio with them later on this week to go ahead and like, okay, everything in my mind, and you know how I am. So,
yeah.
I'm like, no, yes, no, change, yes, no, but I'm going to make sure in my head, I'm going to be like, okay, for the next album, because I don't want to stop anything with this album per se. But I was just saying on my live before, I really want them, all of us, to go ahead and be able to hear that music that was more recent from Jared, because of how hard he worked to make that quality and that type of music. Remember, we were sitting there and everyone thinks that one song's called heroin music, and we were sitting there like, no, this genre he's doing now is called heroin music. Like, We had no other like word for it. We were like, it's not this, it's not that. It's so melodic and so deep and so twisted and so happy and blissful.
No,
Like,
some of
what?
the stuff are getting really. I mean, especially like we're on the Death Race tour, and you recorded like Coraline and Way Too Many and stuff like that. Stuff started like his dad died, and then he recorded those songs like Chase the Dragon and shit. Like
That's and then
she got deep.
part two, we were in the other country to the one song. Like he made the two song. I'm not gonna put it out there because like one's out. I don't want anyone to think that there's like a part two to something that they think they did. I don't know. But remember, he did the part two. We were in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and it was somewhere. It was like right before we went to Tasmania, I think. And he had made a part two to like that Black Dungeon Chase the Dragon. That song he had made like I don't think it's that exact song. I think he made it in that night, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why it's stuck in my head. But there's a part two to a part one, and there's also like a 1.5 that he added. It was like those are the things I want to make sure, you know what I mean? Because again, and it's hard. Everyone like when they think about like album, like it's like, and they put it on like Bibby and Pete and everyone, all of us, like where's this album? You have to remember, guys, it's not easy for us to choose. Like, Jared had so much that like, think about this. Jared had so much before Death Race for Love. So many hits. So many hits that were not out. Hundreds. At,
Mm-hmm.
like, at least, let's just say on the lower side. 300 while we were on tour, while we were finishing up, you know what I mean, going, like he had made so many, and there's maybe 2 songs on there from 6 months of every night making 4 songs
Mm-hmm.
that were absolute hits.
That's what people don't get too. It's like
And
if he would wake up at like 4 or 5, he'd
he's
come out. He'd come out to the garage, and he'd go back in the room with you. Then like 8, 9 o'clock, he would record until like 2 in the morning,
literally
and we'd go ride dirt bikes for an hour, and then he'd come back and he'd record 4 more songs. You know what I mean? Until fucking 5 in the morning, whatever.
4 or 5:30. If I woke up and he wasn't in bed, I was coming and dragging him out by his dread. I didn't care. Literally. That was, everyone knew. Everyone knew they'd get yelled at. No one liked when I woke up in the middle of the fucking morning. They're like, Jared, get to bed. Jared.
Half the time, like I would be in, like I would go if I went to bed and he'd like bust in my room, fucking 4 in the morning, just boom, open the door. Hey, wake up! I want you to hear this. I'm like, all right. I come out.
Guys, I remember like you could even ask like Lex and Gabe and all that. Like even when you were there, you know, when I would wake up when Jared was alive, I would wake up like, you remember I would always like scream out like Jared, like just because I was so used to him bombarding me in the middle of the night and being like, listen to this song I just made, and I'm like, you're only doing this because it's 4:30 and you know I'm gonna be mad at you. But go and I'm gonna listen to it because I know it's gonna be amazing, and it always was amazing and it always was worth every fucking second. But then we'd order all of that food and eat and shower, and I'd put his ass to sleep. The fucking berries.
Or he'd be like, he'd wake me up, drag me to the studio, make this song. I'd fall asleep in the studio. Then I'd wake up, and the studio's completely empty and dark. They just left me in there, passed out.
Times I've made him leave I didn't care. I was like, because this thing was there, so he wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I would walk in, and I'd just be like, you in the room.
Yep.
You know it's past bedtime. Like, I like, and that like, don't want you guys to think like I was like, oh no, you can only record for this long. Like I'd let Jared record odd if he wanted to wake up at 8 a.m. and record till 4 a.m. Be my guest.
Yep.
Stop your fucking process. But your ass is gonna get to sleep by 4 to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I know you. I remember being with him in the beginning, and I'm like, I remember actually asking him when I first, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 days, like, you know me, like, I had my Adderall prescription back then or whatever, you know what I mean, and things like that, and I'm like, do you do, like, Adderall? Like, what, how are you up? Because he would literally, I'd be falling asleep, and then I wasn't on any drugs at this point in time, and I'd be falling asleep. I just smoke a shit ton. And he'd be smoking, and he'd be like, and actually doing things, and like, I'd be falling asleep, and he'd tap me. And I'm like, bro, I haven't slept in like 16, 17 hours. We just got off a flight. We just did this, did that, recorded, and I was in there the whole time. I'm still in here, and you're still up. How are you like his and like and I obviously we always bring it back down to his work ethic because that's what this kid was not on any kind of he wouldn't even let me drink coffee. He wouldn't drink coffee. Like this kid did not have any type of thing to make him keep going. I would always be like, bro, you're an energizer bunny. Like to the point that I had to learn.
Like Japan, Tokyo, we're out. We made that club appearance at One Oak. We're out all night. Get back to the hotel room super late. Still records. I'm passed out on the couch. Like he's still up there recording. Like
He did not stop. And then it like and then if you sit and think about everything and like I'm gonna just say like how it is at the end of the day, like because I wouldn't be in there. I'd go in there, Jared obviously was not like, and that's the thing a lot of people don't get is like Jared's not around, was never really around me like with just me and him high as fuck. You get what I'm saying? Like I'd walk into the studio late at night or like while he's in there by himself or whatever he's doing, and then he'd be high, and I'm like, get the fuck to bed. You know what I mean? Like no one could see him where he was, so like that was just him. It was his thing. You know what I mean? Now how I always was mind blown, and that's why I always say like he's like was like a prophet, just so godly because of bro. You're taking something the next person is taking only a little, and they're knocked out for days, and you're just going like and going and going and going and going and going and going and
mm-hmm.
drinking tea. Like tea puts you to sleep. Like you're
And
like we're eating a lot of like fast food and like and blueberry muffins and donuts and remember
oh,
and
remember those
remember
blueberry
cake
things,
all the time?
crispy crunchy chicken?
Do you remember when I would put human food on? I'd read a post.
Oh my god, the cakes, human food.
So obviously we love our dogs, and me and Jared would like go. Well, I would go to the store. Oh my god! Remember that kid that ate my
Ate dog food, the dog cake. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That director cat. I forget who he was. He was one of Rex's friends, I think. He's
friends?
like
Yes.
directed like a King Kong movie or
Yes.
that King Kong, right?
Yes.
That we watched.
Yes.
Directed it like that. He came over. He was like a cool
Yeah.
guy, like, chubby, kind of like goofy guy or whatever. Ate
100%.
dog cookies.
So okay, I would go and get pastries for the dogs. And I'm obviously from Philly, so I'm gonna grab cannolis and like things like that for the dogs, okay? And I'd put it in Tupperware and I'd put it in the refrigerator. Now, people who lived at the house knows, like, hey, that's Allie. Those are the dogs' food, like their treats and I buy them huge cakes, like for no reason, like and sing them fucking non-happy birthday songs and give them a cake that said Kaplan and River on it. Like I didn't care. Like we would go hard for the dogs all the time. And I guess, and we would have people over that didn't technically live at the house, like a lot, but not for a long period, just for like a night or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, we had Rex over, which he knows, you know what I mean? Well, he didn't tell his friends. And I remember waking up and actually being so mad. I'm like, who the fuck ate my dog's cannolis? Like I was hella pissed. And I'm like, do I need to put like signs, sticky notes on this shit? And then after that, I realized I did because, and like they were eating it. They didn't know. They thought like maybe they're like, oh, it tastes a little off. We thought maybe it was like weed, like shit. And I'm like, it's dog food. That's dog stuff. So from then on, again, like I take Jared and put him to bed, and I'd order us food, and I always order donuts. And
Yep.
I'd always be sticky notes on like, and it ended up being like a thing, and be like,
I think I saw pictures of it. It's
I
just
definitely do. And literally, it'd just be like a blue sticky note, and it said human food, and you knew that you could eat that. And then like the other ones were the dog's food, and you could not tell the difference. So I'm not. I get it how someone could eat. I technically would want to eat one. I would say it all the time. I'm like, God, this looks so good. But yeah, I will never forget that kid ate like 3 cannolis of the dog's.
yep.
Like,
Yep.
and after that, human food for everything. It was on everything. Human food. Gabe, X, everyone. I'd be like, and I would take our stuff into the room and then just leave all the other stuff out and just stick sticky notes on it. Like, human food, human food. God, that was hilarious.
That's funny.
That was really fucking. I forgot all about that
Yeah,
shit.
funny.
It's little things. Or like my little thing. Remember, I'd have like the time thing, like the
Oh, the hourglass, right?
hourglass. Gabe broke it.
Yeah, I remember that.
I got a new one though. It's okay. I found one not too long ago. I think
That
it's in my old, well, not my
game,
old house,
that
but it's in my stuff.
game that he bought, and he couldn't figure out how to play it.
What happened?
That came with that game that he bought that he couldn't even figure out how to play.
No. I bought that from I went to go get new bowls for the dog, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to, I guess, TJ Maxx or something, whatever was on that road on the
Yeah,
left,
yeah, yeah.
but where what is that? Where the store was, like not Ralph's, but you go past that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, on the left. And yeah, I went in there and I saw it and I was like, I need this. I don't know why I needed it. It didn't it literally, at like when you like watched it, we put it on a timer, I think me and Lex did, and it was like 34 minutes. It wasn't even real. Like,
Yeah, it was.
but I would, every time I walk into the kitchen, I would flip it. I would use it every time.
I
So
would always.
it was fucking hilarious. And then I
Before
would just
Gabe,
super sad. That and all my
Gabe breaks
pumpkins.
and loses everything.
Huh?
The Gabe breaks and loses everything.
Gabe would break everything. Gabe, I hope you see this. He would. He would break everything and then hide.
Yep.
I'll never forget though when Jared and Gabe were playing with the lightsabers, and Jared they play ninja. If you guys don't know what ninja is, it's like when you hit someone on an arm or a leg or whatever, they have to act like they don't have it anymore. We played it on tour a lot. We did it with our arms and our hands and our legs.
Played it all the time.
Now, yeah, literally. And Jared had like so many moves, it was ridiculous. So Jared started playing when he got his lightsaber or whatever the fuck. He'd start playing ninja with his lightsaber. So like, I don't know what happened. All I know is that Gabe got a black eye.
Yeah.
Now, everyone, again, they don't want, like, I would yell at everything. I was mom. I would literally yell at everyone and everything about everything. I'd be like, no, you're going to get hurt. You're going to do this. You're going to, no. And I'll never forget, Gabe stayed in his room for like a day. And like Jared was being super sus. He was like, Allie, no, I'll get you it. I'll get you a drink. And I'm like, what do you want? What is this about? You know me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have like a sixth sense with shit sometimes. And I'm like, what is this about? And then I remember walking out. Jared was asleep or using the bathroom or something. I walked out to the kitchen and Gabe was there. And like he was like trying to creep, like, and I'm like, Gabe. And he looked at me and he had this black eye. And I'm like, who gave you that eye? Like, what happened? He's like, nothing. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, me and Jared were playing and he accidentally hit me in the eye, and I like took the lightsabers away. Like, I was like, no. Like, because if it happened to Jared, I would have freaked out. So yeah. It was ridiculous. Those fucking times are great. And then we had like the fucking underneath the thing when everyone came over.
Yeah, we're all
And we'd
playing.
have like the battle royales
Yeah.
underneath the fucking house.
Yeah. That was the big one. people don't realize. Everybody sees that video and knows that, but it's like they don't realize we were playing that game constantly.
That was like
Or we're
if
doing
you came
stuff.
over, it was like a ritual. It's like to walk through there, you had to play ninja.
Yeah.
Like,
Or the funny thing is that I was looking at you know who lives there now, right? Obviously. So I was looking at Tiny's fucking Instagram because
yeah.
you can see the house like in some things. And I'm like,
So no, I will never forget when it came when like because I guess he got it for her for his birthday. I remember I was gonna rent it out
yeah.
to stay longer, and then I decided not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like in my room, obviously really emotional still, just moved into my new house by myself and was sick. I had COVID. And I remember I forget who was there and I was like no fucking like I was like cuz I remember like telling everyone no, I'm not going to get the house. I'm not that I don't want the memories. I just know I need to like go. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
cuz it
god.
was really everyone knows how tough it was for me. Yeah. Like I mean it was tough for everyone, but like being in my room was very difficult and I didn't leave my room, so it was even harder, whatever. So at that point in time, once I realized I could actually leave, I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave, and you know what I mean, like I don't want to go back. And I just remember being like, I just hope I never have to see, not never have to see this house again, but if I do, like, go, you know what I mean, and go and see it, like,
Yeah.
by myself, not like there, yeah, like all the time. And I'm like, fuck, I remember seeing it on thing. I'm like, God, like, I love T. I love Tiny, literally love all of them. That has nothing to do with them. But I'm like, fuck, don't they have a TV show? Am I gonna see my house 24 fucking 7? I remember like I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
I was like, and it had nothing to do with anyone else being in there. It was just the fact that my house was gonna be on TV all the time,
For someone else.
And I was
different though. They changed a bunch of stuff, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier to look at. But I remember seeing the chandelier. Remember we were playing catch inside, and he broke the fucking the hand blown glass chandelier that probably cost a fucking $1 million.
Okay, you're lying. You're lying because we weren't playing catch. Do you remember Jared wanted to
He's the
watch. Jared wanted to use his, even though it was already put in. You know how you have the taser.
Oh, my taser.
That's how it broke. He fucking did the taser and it went.
Yeah.
And it hit the thing, and he did it in the wall too in the kitchen, and I was like,
I still have
Jay. And like the one almost hit me.
Yeah.
I remember him being like, and I'm like, Jay, no. Like, he's like, look, just use it like this. And I'm like, no, like, I think it flies out. Like, I'm sure it flies out. Like, you don't have it on the not fly out button. And he's like, no, I do. And I'm like, all right, try it. You know me. I'm like, do what you try it. And literally went right past me because I was like standing right by the table, like the glass table in the corner. And it went right in the wall. And like, I'm like, Jared, that could have shocked me. Like, and then I had to pull it out of the wall. He was like cracking up. Or how about him with the fucking, in the kitchen with the cabinets. Yeah. Me and Jared would be out there by ourselves, and everyone would be like, what are you guys laughing at so loud? And we'd like hit thing, and the sound that it made, lifting up, he would, it was like his favorite, it was like a laugh button for Jared.
Walk into the kitchen and go,
and he would crack up. He would crack up. So it would be so funny.
That was funny. I forgot about the cabinets.
What happened?
I forgot about the cabinets. That was so funny.
I every time I go into a house that has like cabinets, I'm like that. I have to. I'm like, and I don't care who's. I could be at a party and I'm like, I'm using your cabinet. I gotta see if it does it. But yeah, that one doesn't leave my mind because we would be out there like by ourselves. Like I'll never forget the first time he showed me it. He's like, shh, be quiet. And I'm like, what are you about to do? And then he'd be like, and it'd be, and he'd crack like. Jared would laugh at a lot of shit, but he had like this laugh that was so deep and pure, like, and everything he laughed at he meant that he laughed, but this shit was like no one made him laugh. It was his own laugh from his own thing. He thought, I was like, his laugh was the only reason why I thought it was funny. I'm like, you really think this is that funny? Is it? Like, is it that funny? Am I not getting it? And then no, it really was that funny though. It really was. After hearing it a couple times, it makes a certain noise that he was like, it sounds like a fart. And I'm like, it's like our cabinet's farting. Oh my God. Literally like, I was just thinking about that house the other day. I was watching a video.
I randomly go by and I'll like,
oh Lord, I cannot.
That's what I get worried about. Like, they're gonna see me like sitting outside across the street on the sidewalk, like smoking a, like sometimes I just go there and I'll just smoke a blunt by myself or whatever. I'm like, they're gonna come out and they're gonna be like, who's this fucking crazy white person smoking a blunt across the street from our house? Like, and their security is gonna be all, they're gonna be like all on edge one day. I'm gonna be like, I used to live here. I'm just
literally used to live here. So sorry. Yeah, no, I have not. I mean, I actually haven't even gone to the boys' house that's down the street because I don't want to. It's just, you know me.
Yeah, I know.
When it comes down to things like that, I'm like, you know. I think I saw Gabe went by there not too long ago. Like, I saw it on his story, and I was like, that's enough for me. Like, no, I'm good. Like, people don't realize, like, the whole merch shit when we did the merch photo shoot outside of the fucking house.
Yeah.
When we would have, like, we were, like, out there mob deep. And it'd be, like, in this area where we, like, you shouldn't be that deep. Like, we all should not have been outside.
It's like an area too. There's like a bunch of celebrities that live there. Like we'd be out there.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, when I first moved there, I was like, bro, blah 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 lives down the street. So and so lives here. Yeah. Like, I used to be out here all the time.
Where at the time though, like he'd be always just see us out there riding motorcycles or be riding dirt bikes past his house, and it's just like we're like all these dudes, and like they never realized who it was. And we're out there fucking wreaking havoc throughout the fucking.
See, you guys would always say that, and I would come out screaming. Because Jared thought because he had on his little helmet, first of all, I would come out screaming if he didn't have his helmet. I would run out with like my leg. Yep. I was in the shower and I heard that, you know me. I was like, why is the bikes on? Like, I would hear it start and I'd be like, who's riding? Why are you riding? What's going on? Like, I would be
the gate. We just push those things down the road, start them up, and take off.
Literally, they did not want me to hear. I heard like. It was over. I was like, why? What's going on? Who's riding? Jared, where's your helmet? And it all started in the Beverly Hills one, too. Beverly Hills house. And I was like, Jay, you can't. And he didn't want to wear his helmet. And I would freak out. And I would run down those fucking... There's 4 levels in that Beverly Hills house. I didn't even take the elevator. I'd run my ass down all those stairs. Like, hop out the shower, towel around my head, towel around me. Get off the bike! Where's your fucking helmet? Like, I'd freak out. But then I'd hop on and I'd wear no helmet. But I knew that I knew how to ride.
Well, that's the house he fell a bunch of times at. That first house. And he wasn't wearing a helmet like any of them.
And that's where, okay, so, no. The one in the hills.
The one in the hills. That's when he fell a bunch. He would always just fucking
go. He would fall so, that's when he would fall so much. And then I'll never forget. I came downstairs. Ski was there. Everyone was there. This is when he got that, his like knuckles were all fucked up. He put his hand, it was bleeding. Like you saw how he had scars from it. Mm-hmm. He put his hand back in the glove. So I wouldn't see because I ran downstairs because I was like, he's taking too long. Like, where did he go? You know what I mean? Like, and then Ski doesn't know. Like, this is like in the beginning. So Ski, like, he didn't know like how serious I was about like Jared's health. You know what I mean? So he was like, I remember being like, what happened? What's going on? Like, why did it take you so long? And Jared's like covering his hand in the glove, like trying to put it back in. And I know that shit hurt. Like he was in so much pain. I could see it on his hand. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. And he's like going up the stairs. And as he's going up the stairs, he's like coming in the house. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, he just ate shit in some bushes, some lady's bushes. And I was like, Jared. And I ran upstairs and I'm like putting all this shit on his hand, peroxide, da da da, like all. And I'm like, why didn't you wear the gloves to begin
Honestly,
with?
it was never that bad. The only really bad one is when he burnt his leg. That one was bad.
Yeah, I know. I had to put
Yeah,
shit on it for
yeah,
days. I
yeah. That
still I have you even saw you when you were at when we were at my house like a couple months ago before I moved out. I had all the burn cream still. All
yeah,
the like I had to put shit on that. Oh my god, but it's hilarious because I remember when I first met Jared, we were one of the first conversations we had. I don't know why. It was really like I don't know. We're just weird. We were like talking about our scars we had on us. You know what I mean? Because I always do my lashes because I have like a scar on my like eye. You know what I mean? Like I had like 8 stitches here when I was little. God, I just fucked up my eyelash again. But I have it's on because like I rode quads so much growing up and in general. I have right here. I don't know if you can see it. Like, do you see that part right there?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
it obviously was like huge, obviously back in the day. But this is like 6, 7 years old, that scar. But still, to this day, I had that, and that's one of the scars. I was like, you have to be careful when you're riding the bike because I would ride in shorts because it was hot. But I knew what I was doing. I'd have my Timbs on, like everything. I'm good. But I would, I'd I'd be in the woods, you know what I mean? Like I grew up riding in the woods, so like in the sand and fucking, the pits and like that's the white sand, the soft sand. So you're like sliding and I'm gonna have a burn here or there. I'll never forget that he got that burn and I was like, he's like, look, we got the same thing. I'm like, no, this is
I
not
was,
something I'm
I was,
proud
I
of.
was I'm like, you're not a true rider. This is early on. I go,
That's what I was saying. I was like,
till you
you're not a
burn your,
true rider until you got one of those burns.
yeah. Because look, I mean, shit, I still got
You
mine.
get it through your pants. It doesn't
I,
matter.
I got,
Literally,
yeah,
bro, same
earth.
exact. You ride. You're a
And
hard rider when you have these fucking burns.
on this side,
Literally.
got one here too.
Yep. I
Yeah.
have. I don't know because I have a tattoo there now, but
But his was bad. Like that. I mean,
oh my.
when I got this, this was like it's like 3rd-degree burn. It makes you sick. It's so bad. I remember just going to the fucking CVS and buying all this shit. I'm
You
like,
had, bro.
okay.
I made you, and I also had you go, and then I had Sean go the next day.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like, we
yeah.
have to make sure this heals right. Like, and then Jared would just go put on like, and we were always on the go. So it'd be like he didn't have time to let it breathe, and you have to let it breathe really, like so it actually. And so it would be like he's on stage or he's doing that. And I'm like, oh my god, like Jay, come on, wear shorts, like let
Burn.
it breathe,
Like,
like don't keep it wrapped.
you've tried to ride in shorts a bunch of times. Like, nah, bro, I'll put pants on. You're gonna burn yourself. You know?
Oh, yeah, oh, no, I wouldn't let him ride it. I'm talking about when he would do the show after the burn. It
Yeah,
just kept opening it because he's
yeah.
jumping around. And I'm just like, oh, I know he's in so much pain right now.
So, like, for everybody listening, if it was me, him, and Scheme, we were riding. I'm obviously the most experienced one. Scheme, not experienced, so I taught Scheme how to ride. Jay, he knew how to ride, but
I taught Jay the
like,
basics, and you guys
we really like
perfected his
bike
ride. I want to
was
go
really
riding with him.
good at riding. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he just came around a corner like too fast and couldn't make the corner and just hit the curb.
Yep.
And just tipped over, and then that was it. The bike just landed on him. Like, no big deal, but the exhaust.
But the burn, obviously. I mean, yeah. I mean, I got this burn like from. I didn't even notice it. Like it was like I didn't fall off my bike. I didn't. You know me. I don't do dirt bikes. I do quads. Mm-hmm. So I had the same exact quad that Jared got me before I met him. I had it in white, and yeah, I was on the YFC. I was just in the fucking in Jersey in the sand dunes and shit like that in the backyard, and I just from the sugar sand just going to like how fishtail it and literally like just that without my leg moving as quick, burn. And then what happened was it'd be like I ride every day. I do that every single day. You know, I mean, we used to go and call I'm young back in the day. Like we'd call the cops on ourselves riding, and then I'd go and plastic dip, like spray paint my quad a different color, and then dip out again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no. So it'd just be like a couple of times it hits, and then it makes that scar. But yeah, no, Jared's. I have pictures to this day of it. Like I it's like something that, like, you know, when you scroll through your phone, it's like I can't not, like, it's such a big burn. And then also you have to remember, like, you're white, I'm light skinned. Like Jared's burn was so white,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was like putting my face skin on his leg.
Yeah.
And then it was in bubbles because of, like, you know, we grow hair, so it'd be like, and I'm like, oh my god, like,
Dude,
no.
it was. And another thing, I was just driving through there the other day, and I think to myself, I can't believe we never got in trouble ever by the cops ever. We were riding, I'm talking about Encino.
You're welcome. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because
Why?
remember we had that security guard.
Oh yeah, no, the security guard was cool. Like he was cool, but I'm
Do you
talking
know why he was cool and didn't call the cops?
about.
I'd go out there and be like,
Yeah, he would pull up, and watch us.
with
Like,
my oh yeah.
I'm like,
After that, he'd pull up and be like, "What's
yeah,
going on?" They'd be out there gang deep, and I'm like,
but like
"Oh, okay, it's cool."
we go out and ride on Ventura Boulevard.
Oh,
We
I
go
know. I remember.
out.
Do you remember
Never.
when I made you guys come shopping with me?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was you. I know it was Jared, Gabe, I think, and you. I made you guys because I was like, all right, I got to run to Ralph's, and I was like, Jared, come with me, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and first of all, someone just said I wasn't black. Yes, I am black. I'm black, half black, Puerto Rican, and white. Okay, cool. And just like I said, I'm a vampire. Cool. Okay. Um, anyways, I remember Jared going, okay, I'm going to come, but I'm going to ride. And
Mm-hmm.
you know how I was about him riding on Ventura. Like, I was like, no. Because he thinks that no one knows who he is, and he is who he is. And you can see his dreads and his outfit and his Juice World fucking merch he has on. And I'm like,
Yeah, we're all wearing Juice Wrld merch. We
that's what I'm
all
saying. And you guys
merch.
would be like, oh, no, no one knows. And I'm like, bro, everyone knows.
Giant pink helmet.
Giant pink. So that was my helmet. But he lost his helmet, and I was like, take it. You have to have a helmet on. But yeah, no. So yeah, giant pink helmet, like short sleeves, like didn't matter. I was just like, Jared, it's you. You not only are you have tattoos where everyone can see, like you're in your merch. You posted pictures of your quad, like, come on.
And surprisingly, never got bothered. Never got noticed or stopped. It was lucky. We were lucky. We were.
Honest to God, yeah, that's. I would sit in my room like looking at the time, like trying to like keep my mind off it, and I'm like, where are you? Where are you guys? But I also didn't want to text them or anyone because I knew you guys were driving. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my god, and then you'll come home and be like, we found a new spot, and I'm like, and then you guys would drive for like 20 minutes to the new spot, and then I find out when we're going to the jet that it's like, oh, Allie, this is where we go, and I'm like, that's where you go. Like I freaked the fuck out just because again, I grew up, I did not ride on, I rode on the street if the cops were after me,
Yeah.
and
We
I
were, we
caught
were
them on
fine.
myself. Like I did not, and I was into the cul-de-sac, into the gate, through the driveway, into the 98-acre yard that I had full of fucking, like, every kind of fucking thing you could want for a quad or a dirt bike. We had a whole fucking pit. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was just used to that. And growing up, the only thing we would ever do on the road would be, like, wheelies. My cousin was, like, I remember being, like, 9 and, like, being in the back of his quad, and like, cause he's the person that like taught me, being on the back of his quad, and he would go for like, I'm not kidding, like And I mean, he was sponsored by hella people and shit like that back in the day, but he would go for, let's just say a mile at the least. And to the point that the shirt that I have on was like, and he'd be up so far, the shirt that I had on was ripped, like would be ripped and torn to shreds in the back. Like by the time I would like, he'd get like dropped down and turn around and take me off. Like I was like, that's the only time I ever like been on the road with a quad. If not, it's just crossing over the road to get into the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, so when I noticed, like, and then again, you know how I feel about dirt bikes. I'm like quad over dirt bike all day, any day. And Jared's like, no, I want to ride the dirt bike. And I'm like, I'm going to get you a quad you like. And then he loved the quad. And I was like, fuck yeah. Got you on that one. But he still would take the dirt bikes out with you guys. And be on the street, and then he's like got the one for the street, so I had no say in anything. And I'm like, he's like, it's allowed, and I'm like, fine.
Technically not really, because you still don't have a license, but
Exactly. I would
you're
say
like,
that. I'm like, bro, you don't even you've never even had your permit.
yeah.
Like, you don't do this. If I wasn't driving, you wouldn't even be in the front seat. Jared didn't even like to be in the front seat of cars.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny too, because you'd be like, no, you can't ride the quads in the street. All right, get a dirt bike. No, you can't ride a dirt bike in the street. Those aren't registered. All right, get a supermoto, register it. Now you can't say anything. Like,
literally, he would always
just
find a way to make it so I couldn't say shit, and I would say shit. But he would fight. He'd be like, no, and then everyone's like on his side. He's like, well, we're just gonna be real quick, Allie, and I'm like, real quick to me is still in my eye distance.
Yeah, though, because like a couple times we did try to like take him, like, because when we would go out without him, we would go pretty far and go ride.
Oh yeah.
And a couple times like we tried to take him, like, yo, we found the spot's a little far away. We'd start.
He'd be like, no.
We'd stop, take a little break. He'd be like, all right, let's go back. He never really did want to go far from the house.
Oh no, I know. Oh, so, he knows that I'm in the fucking house freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, I'd sit there and watch the time. And then I'd like try to put on something to keep my mind off it, and I'm like, no. I put timers on. I'm not kidding. Like, on my old phone, there's like alarms that like, it's still to this day say like Jay riding, and it would be like 9:15, alarm will go off, and you guys left at like 8:40, and I'm like, where the fuck are you? Like, I've even, me and Lex have gone out to look for you guys, like on the low. I'm like, he's on the street. I know he's on the street. And then we just end up going shopping, like to Ralph's, obviously. But wait, I will never forget. We went to Ralph's. I'm in I think I just took the Mercedes or whatever. No, I was in the Mercedes. Me and Lex are in the Mercedes. We drive there, and Gabe and Jared, and I think you, right? We all park, go into Ralph's. First time Jared's ever gone grocery shopping at all. This is at the house that, right there. And yeah, I remember like he went in, he's like going and like getting everything that he wants, like a little kid, like grab, and I'm like, bro, I already got this in the bag for you. Like, I already know. Yeah. Like, you remember, I kept the fucking refrigerator immaculate. Like anything you could think of was in the house. Plus human food. Literally. And then I'd be like, where is Gabe? Tell me why Gabe decided, his ass, decided to go ahead and spend that entire time in the front of the store getting lottery tickets.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Lex, get your man. You cannot win here. Yeah, you can't win. It's Ralph's. You're not winning in Ralph's and Encino.
No.
It's not happening.
He has a gambling problem.
My poor Gabe. But, shit, what are you doing tomorrow?
I'll be around.
All right, come over.
All right.
Let's do some shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Okay, yeah. I'm going to text you and tell you what I want now that I'm in here and we've already talked for this. I'm going to tell you what I was going to tell you earlier. I'll text you. But I want you to look at some of the recording shit that I've done and tell me kind of like a vibe. I have like a thing in my head I want to do. Kind of want your opinion on how I kind of like lay it out.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love you. I
I love
love you guys in here. I wish Gabe was in here to hear all this. If you're not, Gabe,
you. And next
hi.
time us have to fucking get on and just talk shit about all our fun times.
Literally. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be tagged somewhere under my shit, so everyone will see it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, have fun on here. I'm gonna text you and tell you my secrets.
All right.
I
Love you.
love you. Bye.
Bye.